Feature definitions are entities inside of OpenRoads Designer that represent items that we can see in the field. For example, an edge of pavement might be a linear feature definition, or a sidewalk would be a mesh feature definition. We access feature definitions through Explorer, and you'll see the different types: alignment, terrain, corridor, super elevation, linear template, surface template, linear, point, mesh, survey, and we also have feature definitions related to site, analysis, and drainage and utilities. In this video, we're just going to look at an introduction to feature definitions. Essentially, they are a culmination of microstation entities that have special civil properties. If we look at the definition in docs.bentley.com, the feature definition can be used to define the symbology and the display of the feature in all viewing possibilities. It also controls element naming, automatic selection of templates, attributes for quantity calculations of areas, lengths, etc., and as well as other attributes. Each element type has different parameters. The property dialog varies for each. However, the feature definition section is common to all, and you'll see the feature definition section here has a description, what is the name of the feature definition, and also what is the name seed. And the name seed is used for the default naming. If there's multiple feature definitions in the same file, then that name seed is incremented. The feature definitions are accessed in the Explorer inside of OpenRoads Designer. And if we go back to look at our diagram that we've seen in previous videos, we're focusing now on the feature definitions and what are those requirements to develop a feature definition. For example, you're going to need to know symbology. You're going to need to know levels, and those will go into element templates, which will feed into feature symbologies, which will feed into feature definitions. But some feature definitions, for example, corridor feature definitions, linear template feature definitions, and super elevation feature definitions, the element templates feed directly to those and bypass the feature symbology section. And so feature definitions can either be pointing to feature symbologies, or in some cases, as shown here, they can also point directly to element templates. The requirements of a feature definition depend on the type of feature definition you are inquiring. For example, if we take a look at an alignment feature definition, in this case I've caught one called GeoMBaseline. If we right click and we open the properties panel, we can see that it requires the feature definition field, which all of them will have this section, but this also has the option to select a corridor template, the linear feature symbology, which controls what this particular line work will look like in our 3D model, as well as our 2D plan view. And then lastly, it gives us the chance to select what it's going to look like in our profile view. So this controls the symbology, pointing to our feature symbology of that alignment definition. And lastly, we have a section where we can attach item types, either a single item type or multiple item types, to a feature definition. And the items is typically common to all of your features definitions as well. These alignment properties in this particular example, or if we had a linear feature symbology, each of these are going to be looking just a little bit different. And so we came down here and selected a new feature definition to create. We can see that the dialog looks a little bit different here than it does for an alignment feature definition. For example, an alignment feature definition has the opportunity to define a corridor template, whereas a linear feature definition has an option to create template geometry. And all of this will be talked about in detail when each of the feature definitions are explained. These feature definitions allow us the ability to represent in our 3D model and our 2D view and our profile view what something is to look like in basis of level, color, style, and weight. It also gives us the ability to attach item types for quantity calculations or schedules. The requirements to have a feature definition show up in your workspace is a single configuration variable. And you'll see that highlighted here, the Civil Content Management DGN-lib list is required to point to the DGN-lib where your feature definitions are stored. Out of the box, we deliver asterisk features asterisk, meaning it needs the name features in the file. But if you don't have that file name, you can see that I've simply copied that line and modified it to point to our specific file name.